Because if you're watching this video and you're thinking, yeah, you know what, there is something that's really worrying me, really stressing me out, really making me feel inferior, or making me feel as if I'm not good enough or I'm not where I should be, I'm talking to you. Hey, my name is Jack. Welcome to States Unlocked, the place to learn about social psychology, human behavior, and also learn practical tips on how you can improve your life. Want to understand yourself into this better? Well, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. This video is going to be all about pressure. Pressure seems to be coming in from all different directions, from external pressures to internal pressures. We can feel like we need to earn a certain amount of money. We can feel like we need to have a certain amount of followers on Instagram. We can feel like we need to have the perfect relationship, that we need to have a relationship to begin with. We feel like we need to have a baby. It's enough to make your head explode. I feel like a lot of the time, the pressures we get from the external world, we tend to internalize. And I just want to make this video because I know for me, I feel a lot of these pressures, and I want to say to you, if you're watching this video and you're like, yeah, I totally relate, I feel pressure, and I bet you do. I bet you do. Because the society we live in creates so much pressure and puts so much pressure on us to be perfect or to be a certain way, and sometimes it's impossible to be that way. Sometimes you wake up and you're achy and you don't feel like doing anything and you can't be a productivity machine. And sometimes your relationship's great, and then sometimes it's not. And then you wonder, am I with the right person? Am I doing something wrong? Is this me? Is it them? There's so many things that we feel which make it impossible to be perfect, to have this life that we are supposed to have, that we put a pressure on ourselves to have. And I want to make this video because I know that we all do it, and it's so horrible. We can be so horrible to ourselves at times. We can put so much pressure on our shoulders and really not even recognize that we're doing it, and not stop and be like, is this realistic? Do I need all of this stuff to be happy? And then we start thinking that if we were to have all this stuff, it would make us happy. We would be perfect. So we need to strive and strive and strive and change and change and change. Yeah, changing is good. Changing, evolving can be good. Striving for things can be really good. Achieving things can be good. But it can also be good to just stay as you are and feel what you feel sometimes too. We don't always have to be evolving on the daily, and sometimes we can just be. And I think it's really important, and this is why I wanted to make this video. Because if you're watching this video and you're thinking, yeah, you know what, there is something that's really worrying me, really stressing me out, really making me feel inferior, or making me feel as if I'm not good enough or I'm not where I should be, I'm talking to you because I want you to know that we all feel like this. And a lot of it's because we are trained to be hard on ourselves. We're trained to have such incredibly high expectations of ourselves. I talk about this a lot, but social media really doesn't help things a lot of the time. A lot of the time we have these personas that we're pushing out there. We're trying to be like, look, this is who I am this kind of way. And they're not authentic because, it's just a minuscule representation of who you are, because in reality, we are so much more than just a persona. We have a whole shadow going on. We have feelings, we have thoughts, we have emotions. So many things make us who we are. It's not just the persona. The persona is just what we want people to think we are, but it's not necessarily us. And Instagram and things like that, they're all about the persona. It's all about an image, It's all about us being a product and being like, look at me, look at how shiny I am today. But the thing is, it's not real, okay? It isn't real. When I say it's not real, it's because it's not real. We are so much more than this, but this actually really feeds into this idea of perfection and things like this, and comparison. We start to compare ourselves, and it can be so toxic, because what happens is that we then don't take stock of what we have achieved, how far we've come in competition with ourselves, okay? If you're comparing yourself to someone who hasn't had the difficulties you've had and they're earning more money, is that really a fair comparison? No, it is not. It is not a fair comparison, but we don't tend to think like this. We just look at that person and we use it sometimes as a way to make ourselves inferior. And I know this is something that affects all of us. We can all be affected by this. And it really boils down to self-worth and value, okay? And I'm not trying to say that this is something that I've always found easy. I haven't always found it easy. And it's not necessarily just Instagram, comparison existed before that, but this really exasperates the problem. It really makes it worse, because when we are comparing ourselves, we are not actually valuing ourselves and what we bring to the table. And we do bring stuff to the table. We're bringing stuff to the table right now, today. There's someone that values you today. Even if they don't tell you, even if you haven't spoken to them for a day, a week, a month, whatever, there are people in this world that value you, whether you believe it or not. It's true. There are people in this world that value you and that would miss you if you were not here. Actually, our worth is not in how much money we make. Our worth is not in how many followers we have on Instagram. Our worth is not in what we look like. Our worth lies in who we are as people and how we make other people feel. People aren't going to remember how many followers you had on Instagram. People aren't going to remember, oh yeah, you look nice that day or whatever. Those are all superficial things. People are going to remember how you made made them feel. You might be sat there focusing on all the negatives, thinking, maybe I haven't made people feel that great. Yeah, maybe take stock of that, but at the same time, I bet you made someone laugh once, and they sometimes think about that, or you made someone smile, or all these things, these positive memories that you have left someone with, but you don't necessarily think about that because you're too busy feeling inferior and comparing yourself to other people. We all do it at times. We all feel like we are not enough at times. I'm just trying to keep it real in this video because, let's be honest, we all try and pretend everything's okay, and some of the time, it's not okay. For me, it's not okay all the time. For you, it's not okay all the time. And guess what? I don't even know you, and I know that's true because that's being a human being. And if you're okay all of the time, then you wouldn't be a very likable person because you wouldn't be relatable. You wouldn't actually have that thing that makes you human, having emotions, being an actual human being, not being perfect. I really wanted to make this video, as much for myself as for you, to remind me and to remind you that we don't have to be perfect. We don't have to have everything in order to be okay, because guess what? We're all going to die. I hate for it to get morbid, but let's be honest, we are all going to die. So it doesn't actually matter that much if you have all this money or if you don't have all this money, because when you die, you're not taking it with you. When we tie our sense of self-worth to these things, it really can screw us over, because what happens if we have all this money and then we go bankrupt? Then are we suddenly not valuable? Let's say we've got the perfect boyfriend and then that boyfriend leaves us, or that boyfriend dies, or we find out that that boyfriend's a horrible person and then you want to break up with them. Do you lose your value then? If you tied up all your value with them, then it feels like you do, but inherently you don't, because you do have value, and it's recognizing this fact that we have value no matter what. And guess what? It isn't always easy. It isn't always easy to have good self-esteem. Let's be real. Let's be real. Let's just say it as it is, because of all these pressures that are coming in. So this is why I want to make this video about pressure. If you're having a down day today and you're not feeling good about yourself, that's okay too. You don't always have to feel great about yourself. I mean, it'd be great if we could, but let's be real. Sometimes we just feel bad about ourselves. Sometimes we feel bad about life. Sometimes we feel bad about ourselves. Sometimes we feel bad about our situations, and that's okay too. Okay, let's not put so much pressure on ourselves to just change that overnight. We really need to have compassion with ourselves, because I guarantee you are compassionate to other people more so than you are with yourself. We all tend to have this tendency where we can give love freely. We can really empathize with other people, especially if you're someone that really identifies as being an empath or a compassionate person. You can be someone that can give so much love, but when it comes to yourself, you're so harsh on yourself and you're so mean to yourself, but you don't realize it. You don't realize that you're holding yourself to an impossibly high standard. You're not necessarily factoring in the being human element, i.e., yeah, I want to do this and this and this. Why am I not being able to do it? Well, maybe because you feel depressed, or maybe because you had a breakup a month ago, or maybe because you've got a chronic illness, or maybe because, you are just not feeling up to it that day. There's so many reasons why we can't live up to the expectations we set for ourselves. Now, I'm not saying not to have goals or anything like that, but we also need to be factoring in that we are human beings, and we can't necessarily hold ourselves to these impossibly high standards all the time, because guess what? They don't really give you much back anyway. Let's say even if you do meet these standards, it's not like you're going to be like, yeah, great, perfect human now, I can relax, I can feel happy. You're just going to find other things to do, because the point is that these things, the problem with all of it is it's a mechanism. It's a mechanism which is holding yourself to this high standard all the time, all the time, all the time, meaning when you get to that point, the bar gets raised and it just never leaves you feeling good. I really think we need to be counting all the small wins all the time. And guess what? I do this sometimes, and other times I fall off the wagon with it. I end up forgetting. To do this stuff. Life takes over. Something happens. I'm not trying to say I'm perfect at this, because I'm not, But this is why I wanted to make a video to remind you it's okay not to be perfect. And whatever pressures you're putting on yourself, today I want you to drop them. Even if it's just dropping them a little bit, just drop some of the pressure. Become aware of some of the pressure you're putting on your shoulders. Because guess what? Chances are you're a decent person and you don't deserve to be putting all this pressure on your shoulders, because you are worthy today. Whether or not you're where you want to be, whether or not you have the looks you want to have, or the money you want to have, or the family situation you want to have, whatever it is, you're worthy. Even if you had all that stuff, you'd be worthy. Even without it, you're worthy, okay? And I just want to make this as a reminder, because there are people in this world that care about you and like you just as you are today. Thanks so much for watching. If you've liked it, please leave me a comment. I'd love to engage with you. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I shall see you on the flip side. Ciao for now.